whilst this channel is mostly focused on Phantom Parade at the moment, that doesn't mean it's the only gacha game I play or have ever played. I mean, even as we speak, I'm playing Phantom Parade alongside Kaiju No8 and Bleach Soul Resonance on top, which there will be videos for in the future. However, there have been a decent amount of gacha games that have went through EOS or end of service that I really miss. So I thought I'd make this video to take a trip down memory lane with you guys. So let me know if you've played these games down below, as well as any other gacha games that you miss. With that being said, let's get into it. So, for the longest time, Bleach Brave Souls was kind of the only option you had for Bleach gacha games. And it came out, like, I want to say 2016, like, it's almost, I think, 9-10 years old at this point. For the longest time, that was your only option. And whilst I have played a lot of Bleach Brave Souls, let me pull that up, 300 on Steam, as well as, you know, God knows how many on mobile, I've played a lot of Brave Souls, and to be honest, it's not my favourite. I'm not a big fan of the art style, but what can you do? I think the 3D models don't look the best sometimes, and I'm not a big fan of all of the seasonal units. And I had the same issue with this gacha game, but it was just a different style of game. And this is Bleach Immortal Souls or Eternal Souls. Now, as you can probably tell, a decent amount of units. It was a fun gacha game. It wasn't anything crazy. It went through EOS back in, I think, 2004, it says here. 2004, Jesus Christ, 2024. It wasn't the most complex, as you can see. It was like an auto one type of thing. You just activate skills. Nothing too crazy. The art style was good. It was fun enough. I just preferred it over Brave Souls, in my opinion. It's the one I have the least to say about, in my opinion, of the gacha games I'm going to talk about here. But it wasn't bad. I enjoyed it. It's just, it has the folly that a lot of gacha games have, where some of the, like, seasonal units were really strong, and I'm not a fan of that. I don't want Swimsuit Kenpachi to be the strongest unit. I just want, like, a Kenpachi to be really strong. It was just your only other option if you didn't want to play Brave Souls for a long time, and then went through EOS. I think you can still play it, though. Out of all the ones that are here, you can still play this game normally. It just won't be updated, right? So it went through technically end of service, no longer being updated, no more updates, no patches, no nothing, but you can still play it if you want. And personally, with Soul Resonance, no. Soul Resonance is, like, a really strong Bleach gacha game. I suggest playing that instead. But if you didn't know, they're technically all in the thumbnail, but so this isn't really a spoiler for the video, but I am a big fan of Overlord. I've watched the anime, I've read the manga, even though it only goes up to like the 3rd season of the anime, and I've read most of the light novels, and I own most of them in the cupboard over there. And for a while, it had a gacha game called Mass for the Dead. Now, Mass for the Dead was one of those licensed ones from Crunchyroll, which is kind of like, it's like when Persona 5 does a collaboration. If it's by Crunchyroll, or you get a P5 collab, chances are the gacha game will end quickly. And Mass for the Dead, on global specifically, did not stick around for long, despite the fact they had a lot of collabs. Konosuba, friggin', you can see it down here, Berserk, you had Guts Griffith and Skull Knight, which is insane. You had, like, tons of, like, you have Shield Hero, Cautious Hero, I think Data Live was there, who gives a fuck about that, only Gooners like that shit. There was plenty of crossovers, so many, 7 Deadly Sins, plenty of units, like Albedo, Negredo, some of the fucking ghosts, right? The reason I enjoyed it was, like, it was very similar to Phantom Parade, but it was much more in-depth, like, turn-based RPG. Obviously, it's similar to Brave Souls in regards to the art style, but the gameplay itself was literally just a much more in-depth turn-based, as you can see here. You know, you had multiple moves, you can fight, charge, defend. Like, it was just a more in-depth, at least mechanically, than Phantom Parade. I prefer how Phantom Parade looks. Actually, no, I don't mind the art style. How cute, it looks fine. But I am a huge fan of Overlord, and I think they just kind of overestimated. Oh, we also did a ReZero collab, hell yeah. But I think they just overestimated how popular Overlord is, because I think the season 1 anime was really popular, but I think overall light novels and the series as a whole isn't as popular as I want it to be. But just scrolling down, it's got so many friggin' units. It's absurd, right? Like, so many units. Like, it kept going for about 3 years in JP, if I'm correct, and on global it was only around for about a year. And I really like Overlord, and Overlord doesn't really have a lot of games. For some reason, it has, like, a side scroller. If you didn't know, like, the one Overlord game in the world is a side scroller where you play as Clementine for some ungodly reason. Remember Clementine from the end of season 1? Yeah. I don't know why either. Yeah, you either had this or that, and this only lasted a year on global, which annoys me, but what can you do? Mass for the Dead, RIP. Now the next one, and a lot of you might have played, I'm also a fan. Like, I like most anime shit. I like Black Clover, so I did play a little bit Rise of the Wizard Kingdom when it did come out, right? Or just, you know, Black Clover Mobile. I think there's another mobile game of Black Clover coming out, but either way, I played this one, and I didn't mind it. I didn't play it a fuck ton, don't get me wrong, but I pulled Jack the Ripper, I pulled Black Aster when he came out initially. I like the first version, I think there's a couple. We all know it went through EOS not too long ago. Yeah, again, it was just another turn-based RPG. I'll just put Giku's shit on screen because he played this a ridiculous amount. Like, yeah, I played this as well, at least on global. I didn't play the JP version. But yeah, again, it's just like turn-based RPG, same sort of thing. I'm noticing a pattern here. Are you? Seems like turn-based RPGs don't last very long, which doesn't bode well for Kaiju No8. But hey, not much else to say. But I like the Black Clover game. I think it's a shame that it went away pretty quickly. It was only around for like, what, a couple years? Not really very long. But the gameplay was simple enough. It worked. I think a lot of people had issue with the type of upgrading system it had. But, you know, I'm a fan of Black Clover. And if you didn't know, just Black Clover games in general tend to be really weird. If you'd ever played Black Clover and the Quartet Knights, that's a weird game. Like a lot of patterns here, we don't tend to have a lot of good options when it comes to these games. Bleach is the exception, I guess, because Bleach has like a surprising amount of games, but they're all like JP exclusive. But I'm just yapping at this point. This is just a yap sesh. I'm just trying to feel nostalgic because I'm a boomer. But anyway, the next one is very unique. So when I was a youth, I initially made a JP iTunes account because I wanted to play a JP Dokkan, right? It would have been like, it was so long ago. Int Buhon just came out with AGL Vegito and JP. So that is like 8 years ago, if not longer. Jesus Christ. But when I did so, at the same time, there was another gacha game active, and that was Tokyo Ghoul Carnaval, or Color Carnaval, had a couple of different names. Now, like as you can see with the other gacha games, I can pull up like a dedicated wiki, because it was like JP exclusive, and it was like 10 years ago. There isn't like a straight up wiki. Okay, piss off Tumblr. But this game, whilst it was like turn-based technically, it was not an RPG. Just look at your screen right now. This isn't your stock standard RPG. This isn't your dad's Tokyo Ghoul game. Like, here's a little thing that I find very, very weird. Just Tokyo Ghoul has had a surprising amount of gacha games. Tokyo Ghoul as a franchise is pretty popular, but it is so surprising just the sheer amount. But the thing is, overall, with Tokyo Ghoul gacha games is that they never last long, which I think is an absolute shame. Because as I was saying, oops, spoiler alert, Tokyo Ghoul is like a pretty big franchise, but all the gacha games just always end up dying really, really quickly, which always upsets me. Because stuff like this one specifically, Carnaval, it's very unique and fun. You might not look at it, but it's like a ping pong effect. You have to like knock your teammates into each other and the enemies into other enemies. It was really fun. You could pull for like Yamori and Centipede Kaneki and stuff. It was really cool. Like, look, there was like stage obstacles and stuff. You've got like Arima from Tokyo Ghoul Jack. I think it's Jack. It's Jack or Pinto. I think it's Jack. Shinohara, the other guy. I don't remember. I've missed this. Like, as I say, from a gameplay aspect, most gacha games are like pretty same old, same old. Like, you could do parkour of certain objects and stuff. It was so fucking cool. But they tend to be like either like arena stuff, like Genshin or Brave Souls, or turn-based RPGs for the most part, or they usually tend to fall into that. While this was like a unique thing, I don't think there's many other gacha games like this, and I miss it, bro. It was cool. Bring of all the gacha games here, bring this one back. You cannot play this anymore, and it makes me very upset. But this one's kind of weird for two reasons. Technically, it is a gacha by technicality, and at the same time, you can technically still play it. Different to Bleach, Eternal Soul, or Immortal, so that's still just on the store. You can just play that whenever. It just will never be updated. Spider-Man Unlimited, people emulate it, and it's currently being modded by like a relatively active fan base, because Spider-Man Unlimited is sick as hell, right? Okay, I'm just putting this here because it's great. Spider-Man Unlimited is sick. It was just like this endless runner. You have to think this game came out how many friggin' years ago? 2014. Boom, September 10th. Cutting that a bit close. It came out on September 10th, 2014. And I played this and I smashed this. And I can now play it. It turns out, I didn't know this until recently. I just found a random YouTube video. People are still working on it. You can emulate it. It's great. I love it. Granted, it's not the same because I don't play it on a touchscreen. I emulate it on a PC. So I use the arrows or the mouse. Still very fun. Now, as I say, it's an endless runner, but it's just completely filled with fan service. So I'm just going to let this scroll super, super fast. And this is just, each one is a character, right? A unique Spider-Man, Spider-Person, symbiote. You got Nick Fury on there, Silver Sable. Look at this. Brother. Let me just show you the best one. Spider-Man UK. The GOAT. Just because UK, obviously, but they all came with artwork. They're all 3D modeled. They're like different variants. Like this game, peak. Think about this. Out of all those gacha games that I mentioned previously, they really don't exist anymore, right? The EOS, those games are deleted. People cared about this one so much, it is still being worked on. It went through EOS March 2019, and people are still working on it 6 years later. That just shows how peak this is. I'll put gameplay on screen, obviously. Like, it's just a bog standard runner, but there was so much fan service from the sheer amount of Spider-Man. All the boss battles were like Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Red Menace, Grey Goblin, Hobgoblin, a lot of goblins. You know, that sort of stuff. I'm a big Spider-Man nerd, if you didn't know. I love Spider-Man. He's the GOAT. Ben Reilly is the best Spider-Man objectively, except for Spider-Man UK. But I love Spider-Man, and it was technically a gacha game because you would summon for new Spider-Man and for dupes and stuff, right? So like, by technicality, there is a gacha game that I miss, but I can also still play it, and It's so good. I'm so happy with that. Now here's the number one. Right, here's the number one. I'm gonna look into the camera for this. Out of all the gacha games I've ever played that I've went through EOS, there is one that hurts my soul to think about because I played through it in a very important time in my life, and it makes me feel old every time I think about it because I really enjoyed it. You could farm for units. It was it's in the center of the thumbnail. I'm gonna stop doing a bit. It was Naruto Blazing, right? It was Naruto Blazing. Naruto Blazing is genuinely peak. Naruto Blazing was great. It was like, oh, I miss you. This game was dope. It was unique, kind of similar-ish to Carnaval in a way, but it would like reuse animations from Storm and stuff for like the ultimates and stuff. It was pretty cool. It's kind of hard to describe the gameplay. Like every character, I'll just pull up gameplay on screen. It had PvP, which was toxic as hell. It was very much like Bleach Brave Souls, like PvP sort of stuff, where it was like very meta-focused, where it's like you want units who are the fastest, who can super immediately, who have big AoEs, like. It was super toxic. You just want to insta-kill your entire enemy team. It was great. Trust me. It was... this game was so fucking peak, dude. I know it looks so mundane from the outside looking in. Like, looking at this gameplay from 619 The Lord, dope name. I love the big three, right? And unfortunately, One Piece just doesn't have any good gacha games. Like, Treasure Cruise sucks and Bounty Rush sucks. Bonbons was mid. People might kill me for that, but I'm sorry, I don't fuck with Bonbons. Naruto has been quite lucky to an extent. It's got the Naruto Boruto stuff, which a lot of people like apparently. And this was my... I don't know how else to describe it without yapping. It has literally everyone. You've even got like Menma from the Infinite Tsukiyomi stuff. There was no Boruto stuff. Thank God. The one thing I do want to show though is there were certain units who just had ridiculously good art. I put it in the center of the thumbnail, like that specific Naruto, but there was also like an Obito and stuff who had that very similar art style. Hold on, let me pull it up. There you are. Look at that, dude. Look at that. That is peak. That is a sick. What was his animations as well? I think they changed as well. Thank God to the person who like recorded all of these, by the way. You are my freaking hero. I absolutely... Ooh, that's loud as hell. Like, it wasn't anything ridiculously insane graphically. It was just a very simple but fun gacha game. And I missed that. There was plenty of farmable units. I don't remember if it was mega... I feel like it was mega free-to-play friendly because I didn't spend money on this. And I still had all the fucking, like, all the OP units I needed. PvP was fun. You had, like, the illusory castle. It was really fun. Out of all the gacha games, I miss this one more than any of the others. Look at that artwork, dude. That's peak. That is peak. Look at that. That's dope. And I'll never get to play it again. Shit. Oh, what can you do? It was green. Green Madra, there he is. Bro, look at that. Tengai Shinsei behind him. Wow, that looks dope. But yeah, overall, out of those 5, Bleach, as I said, Bleach Eternal Soul or Immortal Soul, depending on where you are, is still available to play. And whilst it did go through EOS, like, I don't think you were missing much, but if you're not a fan of Brave Souls, you could still try this if you really wanted to. If you don't like Soul Resonance and you don't like Brave Souls, this might scratch an itch for you. Sure, I'm pretty sure you can still download it now. Overlord Master of the Dead is unfortunate because I think the rates were terrible from what I remember. Like, it was another one of those games where you could acquire memories as well as characters. And given how, as you can see, how many units there are, that was a bit of an annoyance. But overall, the turn-based gameplay was fine. I'm a big Overlord fan, so I wouldn't have complained anyway. I mean, if you've got Guts, Griffith, and Skull Knight, I'd love the game no matter what. But it wasn't terrible. I enjoyed it for what it was. It was just a nice and fun turn-based RPG. Same goes with Black Clover. It was fun for what it was. It was very flashy. It looked really good. I don't remember if it gave out too many tickets when I was playing, but I still had fun with it. I'm a Black Clover fan, and I got Black Caster, got Jack. I was fine. I was eating well, and it looks good. Right? It looks good. R.I.P. this game. Tokyo Ghoul Carnival was so many years ago. Jesus Christ. Makes me feel old. I wish more gacha games were a bit more experimental like this and did well. I doubt there's ever going to be like a Tokyo Ghoul Carnival styled game ever again. I wish there was though. Look, random parkour. This game was peak, dude. As I said, Tokyo Ghoul, R.I.P. I think it was very unique, very fun, and I'm a big Tokyo Ghoul fan. And as I say, all Tokyo Ghoul games suck tremendous wank, except for this one. Most of the other gacha games were terrible. Most. But it's like, genuinely, Tokyo Ghoul has like, I want to say 4 or 5 actually, just gacha games that appear for 6 months or to a year and then just die and don't come back because no one plays them. Because Tokyo Ghoul is a series, I feel like it's, you know, it's orchestrated more so towards older people, and a lot of older people don't tend to play gacha games as much. So I feel like that's where they tend to die out. Maybe I'm just yapping and chatting shit about that, but personally that's how I feel about it. In Spider-Man Unlimited, I can still fucking play it, and I started playing it again today, emulating it, and I'm having a fucking whale of a time. Yes, it is like modded, so it is a bit buggy from what I can tell, because maybe my emulation settings are a bit weird, but I'm still having fun with it. I think it's great. But as I said, if I could just delete all 5 of those and get Naruto Blazing back, I would do it in a heartbeat, because I love Naruto. This game, as I said, I played in my youth, and it makes me feel old to say, but I did. And you could farm all these units for free. There was like 10-tail Obitos that you could farm for. You could farm for Danzos, Orochimaru's, Madara's. Like, you could farm for whoever. Like, pretty much everyone had a free-to-play unit. You didn't need all the optimal ones unless you're in PvP. If you didn't have the optimal ones in PvP, you were dead. But it was still great. Like, this game was phenomenal. Fuck. I miss Blazing. But there's not much else to say. I'll put footage for all the stuff in the description. And, yeah. Let me know what gacha games you miss, you played. And, yeah. Doodles my doodles. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
What I will ask you though is, can you give me one more day?